The story of the Renters' Union in the UK is one of a centuries-long struggle for the fundamental right to a secure home against a system that has treated housing as a commodity first and a necessity second. The movement has its roots in the 19th century, but its most famous victory came in 1915 when 20,000 tenants in Glasgow went on rent strike, led by the formidable Mary Barber. They physically blocked bailiffs, refused to pay, and forced the government to introduce the first national rent controls. That was the first major legislative win. Fast forward to the 1988 Housing Act, a devastating reversal. It created the assured short-hold tenancy and introduced Section 21, the so-called no-fault eviction, allowing landlords to evict tenants without giving a reason. In response, modern tenant unions have risen. Groups like Acorn and the LRU now organise thousands of private renters to fight back against rent hikes, unsafe conditions, and unfair evictions. This brings us to the photographs you're seeing now. Oxford Street, London, 18th April 2026. On that day, several thousand people gathered in Soho Square and marched down Oxford Street for the National Housing Demonstration, organised by the LRU, alongside major trade unions, the Green Party, and campaign groups like Generation Rent. Protesters carried banners reading "Rent Control Now," "Homes for People Not Profit," and "Council Homes for All." They chanted, they blocked traffic, and they made sure London couldn't ignore them. But here's the key moment. They stopped outside Lloyds Bank, and they booed. Loudly. Why Lloyds? Because Lloyds is one of the biggest mortgage lenders in the country, financing the buy-to-let landlords who are buying up homes, jacking up rents, and pushing ordinary people out. The message was clear: you profit from our pain, you fuel this crisis. It was a direct, confrontational statement that renters are no longer asking nicely, they are demanding accountability. This protest wasn't just about anger, it was about a clear demand: rent controls now. The Renters' Rights Bill was introduced, received royal assent in October 2025, and became the Renters' Rights Act 2025. On May 26, 2026, its most significant provisions took effect. Section 21 is abolished. No more no-fault evictions. All tenancies become rolling periodic agreements, giving renters stability. Rent increases are limited to once a year, and bidding wars are banned. It is being hailed as the biggest reform to private renting in over 30 years. But here's the tension. The story is far from over. At that very same April 18th protest, LRU speakers and activists made it clear that the new act, while a step forward, doesn't go far enough. It doesn't introduce universal rent controls, which was their central demand on that day. The Green Party's London Assembly member Zoe Garbett called for rent controls and more social housing, attacking Labour's record. One LRU speaker proclaimed that rent controls is a demand whose time is coming, calling for rents to be capped to a third of workers' income. Meanwhile, Labour MP Zara Sultana spoke at the rally but offered only vague demands, disappointing many protesters who wanted more decisive action. In fact, at a later demonstration on April 18th, some protesters even booed Labour MP Afsana Begum when she suggested the act was enough. Why? Because for many renters, the act doesn't address the root cause: housing being treated as an investment, not a home. The fight continues. The Renters' Rights Act is a testament to the power of collective action. From the factory gates of Govan in 1915 to the bank doors of Lloyds in 2026. The history of the Renters' Union is a powerful reminder. Rights are not gifts. They are hard-won victories of people standing together, refusing to be silenced, and refusing to be evicted.